So this is all about what I want to share. We have about 16 minutes left. Sure, and here, may I know any questions from the Q&A?
There are some questions in the chat box.
I think the most common question is whether the industry partner can base outside the UK, for example, from EU.
I think it should be feasible because they are not receiving funding. So this is a very good question, by the way. That's a very good question. For example, our network, we have partners outside of UK and EU. We have partners from Asia, from Singapore, from the US. So therefore, I think the key is about funding, right? So as long as they are not looking, if it's partner, and generally we assume that there will be no funding, then industry partner can be from overseas, as long as they are making meaningful contributions. That's a very good question. Yeah, thank you. Yes?
So can a stakeholder and an industry partner be the same?
Yes, so industry partners, the question is whether stakeholder and industry partner can be the same. Right? So industry partner is one of the important stakeholders, right? So it's really, I think, it's a stakeholder includes industry partners, right? But stakeholder also include other entities such as end users, right? Because so it's broader. Stakeholder is broader than industry partners. Next question.
Would be great if expand the engagement with end users.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Would be great if you could expand engagement with end users.
You want me to clarify engagement with end users? Yeah, thank you. This is really from the deployment-centric thinking. You think that if, right, so if our technology will be successful, who will be the end users? Who will be affected by the technology the most? Who will be direct user of the technology? For example, healthcare, right? So healthcare, I think the direct end user can be patients. Most frequently, I think it would be nurse and doctors, right? Who will actually use the technology. I think patients, they are also stakeholders, but someone has health. But if it's wearable, right? So then, of course, I think the patients, they have our like public, right, will be end user. So the definition of end user will vary, depends on your problem, your research project. Who are the target? So you need to think a little bit down towards the technology readiness level, the TRL. If your technology mature and enter into a, say, product or tools, practical tools, who will use it? Those are the end users, right? So of course you can. I don't think there's a very specific answer to that, but in high level, that will be what we mean by end user. I also welcome you to open discussions on our discussion board or discuss with us. I think it will be really up to you to identify and to convince us in your full proposal that those who have engaged are the end users and are the key stakeholders. Next question.
Another one. So when the final decision will be released, I think that's already.
That is listed on the website, right? So I think it will be before Christmas, right? So it will be before Christmas. That date is on our website. It should be 20, around 20, right? So 19.
December.
Yeah, 19th of December, we will, it's a notification date for the final decision. Yeah, before Christmas this year. Yeah. Another question?
There are some new questions. So do you expect industry partners or end users to deliver something as part of the project, deliverable or working package?
What we want is we want them to make meaningful contributions. Therefore, it will be the proposer, the team, to define what will be meaningful input, right? For example, it cannot be just, okay, I support this, right? I think this is a good idea. we want something more meaningful, right? So it can be, for example, it can be in-kind support. You spend time to work with you, for example, to design the experiments, to design the metrics, to identify what are the data sources. So these are all meaningful contributions that can be made by industry partners or end users. Right? For example, end users, they can also provide feedback. Right? So see, okay, this is not good. Even if you have it, we are not likely to use it. Or they say, oh, this is really what we want, right? So, but if you can make this, that, it will make it even better. Even more people will use it. Right? Those are all meaningful input that will affect how your research will be carried out, and the eventually the output of your research. So therefore, it will be up to you to define, to identify, and to convince the panel that they are making meaningful input. And that is one of our assessment criteria. Any other question?
Could you please define or clarify community engagement? Some example would be helpful.
For the community engagement, I think, for example, we mentioned GitHub discussion, right? So that is kind of community engagement already, because it's open, anybody from the community can participate. And we already have that element in our design, for example, the video page, right? So that is kind of engagement as well. And we also, later on, we have different, the EB, we have different roles. Therefore, for example, if you want to find industry, if you want to engage with industry or public, but you don't know how to do, our lead is there to help you, right? So, and if our lead is busy, then you come to the director and deputy director, right? So it's possible, for example, if you contact someone who is on leave and they will come back later, then we have a team over here, and we can help you to build the engagement. And we also have ECR support, government, UKI, and EDI. So you can. So there are two ways, right? So one is online and one is in person. Online is through, you can also, for example, if you want to organize something, online event, right? So we can help you to spread your news, right? You are organizing an online forum like this, right? Say, okay, we have a great idea. We want to get the community feedback, right? So you schedule a meeting, Zoom meeting, Google Meet, Teams. Then you can email us, and you can help you. We can help you to broadcast our YouTube channel, and you can engage with the community more broadly, right? So there are various ways. Of course, if it's in person, it will be a little bit more challenging, and it will cost money. And if you can find your funding, or if you can find some more economic way, for example, use university facilities, we can also help you to share the kind of in-person engagement opportunities. That, or you can also make it hybrid. Right? So these are a few examples that I share with you that you may consider. And if you want more ideas, do post questions on the discussion board, and we can elaborate further. Any other question?
Whether indirect costs such as overhead fundable.
This is clarified in the core document, right? If you go to the core document under funding provided, we will list that, clarify this already there. Briefly, yes, it's covered, right? But we also emphasize cost effectiveness, right? So if you are going to spend majority of the, like 40 or 30% on overhead, you may need to justify why this will be a good value for money, right? So maybe it is, right? Maybe there will be other ways you can leverage, things you can reuse, right? So therefore, we do not set a hard rule. We think that is eligible. Indeed, if the short answer is yes, but on the other hand, we want you to remind you that, have you considered cost effectiveness? Is there a better way to use the funding to deliver more, or deliver research output faster, better, more economically? So that is one of the assessment criteria, right? So therefore, yes, it's eligible. But do consider the cost effectiveness when you put this in.
Can PhD student or research assistants be PI?
PhD student, I don't think so, right? Because the definition of you can go through our eligibility, and I think the primary there. So if my explanation here is not clear, you reach out to your research office. Usually they will give you the final say, right? So if you are not eligible, they will not even allow you to submit, right? So although we have a form that may not go through them, but it's important if you are not sure to confirm with them. But I think PhD students will not be eligible because the definition is someone employed, right? So PhD students are not employed by the university, but PDRA, I think, is eligible under certain conditions. For example, if I remember correctly, is that your contract need to last beyond the project duration, right? So that's also you need to get consent from your line manager, right? Your PI, right? So your line manager has to agree to support you to be a PI, give you a PI equivalent support through the university, and then you are eligible. And this is one of the few small project opportunity that PDRA can be PI. Because for bigger project, usually it's not, right? You can only be a co-I or research co-I. But for this kind of small project, it's possible for PDRAs, right, that we stated in the web page and also on our documents. PDRA are eligible if you satisfy certain conditions. Therefore, we strongly encourage PDRA to consider this opportunity of becoming either PI or co-I to lead a project, or to lead a community effort to build your career profile. We've got about 4 minutes left, and maybe 3 more minutes for questions.
A short one, like are all the evaluation criteria equally weighted?
So we haven't really assigned the weight between. We have quite a number of criteria, right? So I would say all of them matters, but the specific weight we will clarify it at a later time point, right? So later time point. But all of them are important, right? So eventually the funding will depend on the whole holistically. And every proposal will have some strengths and some weaknesses, right? So you can assume that they are equally important at the moment. Yeah, without further, if we did not clarify further, we'll consider all of them. The more I view it more as an integral part, right? So basically, without any of them, it wouldn't be a great proposal. So if it's a great proposal, it will score strongly in all the criteria. Next question.
This is a bit long. Would the core accept a proposal that is biologically inspired, focused on developing multimodal algorithm based on biological principles, but without immediate plans for implementation in a practical AI device?
Well, I will expect the applicants to explain and to convince us that your proposal meet these criteria, right? So we do consider the timeline of the impact. If your impact is more immediate, then we will want to support it more. If your impact is much more long-term, then it will be more unlikely that we want to support if given all the other criteria the same, right? So if two proposals were equally, one can create impact in 1 year, another will create impact in 10 years, then I think we will support the one which can create impact in 1 year.
Next question: could the PI from other UK university, other than Sheffield or Glasgow?
It's open to the UK, right? So eligibility is any UK institutions eligible for EPSRC funding, right? So it's not only for the partner. It's open to the UK, including universities, institutions, basically any institution, organization eligible for EPSRC funding will be eligible to apply.
last one, would the funding cover the salary of staff involved?
What the funding will cover is listed in the core document, right? So we do cover in directly incurred staff costs, but as we clarify, we will not cover directly allocated. That is, if someone is already employed, right? So who is already having a salary, then we would not for this kind of small grant, right? Small funding. Usually we don't support that, because the funding can be used for other better purposes, and because the staff itself is already salaried, so we don't see that as necessary to costing that funding, and that's quite common across these kind of small grants. Any other question? No, thank you everybody, and now it's 3 p.m. sharp, and I would like to thank you very much for joining us for this webinar. Like I said, if you have any further questions, those are the ways that you can engage with us through the discussion board, and we will have our announcement. Any update will be here, and we will shortly release the EUI form that you can start looking at. And if you have any question, if it's something nothing very confidential, private, we encourage you to ask your question over here. And we also encourage you to look at our other opportunities, like the workshop. We're also going to EMBC next week, so if you are there, we can talk. And thank you very much for joining us. And we hope to see you on the GitHub discussion board, or in person in London or somewhere else. Thank you very much. Let's keep in touch and grow this community together. Thank you.